Coming up on Mountain News this morning, high wind and dry grass are raising concerns for fire safety, while officials stress being aware of your surroundings. And tariffs are starting to hit retailers, but soon some countries might be back at the negotiation table.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning and a happy Wednesday to you, Mountain family. My name is Amelia Lee here with you on this March 5th, and the time is now 6 o'clock on the dot, which means it is time to check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall. Now, Megan, we have had some rain this morning. I am not hearing that pitter-patter anymore on the roof of our building, but is that going to be expected throughout the day?
Yes and no. The heavier rain is making its way out this morning, so there's part of the good news, but we do have rain chances throughout the rest of the day with a little bit of a break in between. So let's take a look at that live pinpoint Doppler radar so you can see just where the heavier rain is, mainly just contained to Dickinson, Buchanan, and Wise County, Virginia. Do see a little bit of heavy rain as you're traveling towards portions of Pike and Letcher. We'll continue to watch that move through, and then as you can see to the left side of your screen, we do have a little bit more rain that will be on the way as we're going through the next couple of hours and through most of your day. That'll be lighter rain chances, of course. Here's a look at those current winds outside, because that is the main thing we're tracking. And as you travel more towards Virginia, where that system is right now, you're seeing upwards of 20-mile-per-hour winds, and that's not even accounting for the wind gusts, which are even faster. We're seeing 30-mile-per-hour wind gust, and Jonesville is not showing up, but earlier it was about 36. So it's definitely a fast wind day, and we'll continue to see fast winds for most of your day. Here's a look at those current temperatures, and it's definitely warmer out there. We're looking in the 50s, and we'll continue to see those temperatures warm up for the next couple hours. And by the time you head into that midday, that's when temperatures are starting to drop. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan. Well, crews have battled several brush fires in recent days. Now, with high winds in the forecast, they're bracing for more. Officials say even though the ground is wet, the grass on top is dry, which causes plants like sage grass to catch on fire. One of those grass fires in Madison County was called in by Philip Rose, who says this was the first fire in his 30 years of living in his neighborhood.
I actually tried stomping it out, but you could stomp it and it would start right back because the wind was so blowing so hard, you know, it'd start right back burning.
Officials say hot spots are a dangerous issue, especially when dealing with high winds. Well, we are in spring forest fire season, and that means no burning from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening. At least 2 counties in eastern Kentucky have implemented a total burn ban. Pike County Judge Executive Ray Jones signed an executive order to put an emergency burn ban in place. In the executive order, it says all outdoor burning in Pike County is prohibited, and the ban shall remain in effect until lifted or modified. Floyd County Judge Executive Robbie Williams also says a countywide burn ban is in effect until further notice. Officials everywhere are urging folks not to burn right now. Crews put out a fire in Estill County yesterday morning. It happened in the area of Richmond Road past Regis Road, heading towards Irvine. Around 11:30, when they got there, crews saw flames coming out of the top of the building in an area where apartments are. They worked to put the fire out to save the building's lower level, which is home to a restaurant called the Juicy Burger.
You know, our biggest hindrance besides, you know, the fire was so big when we first got here is water. You know, we're flowing big amounts of water and just trying to keep up and stuff.
Investigators are still looking into the cause of the fire, but they say it started in the center of the building. Luckily, no one was injured. Last night, President Donald Trump gave his vision for his second term in nearly 2 hours long speech before a joint session of Congress. The president's theme was renewal of the American dream, as he touched on key issues like immigration, national security, and the economy. During his speech, the president asked Congress for more funding of border security and spoke on a new letter from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky following Friday's clash.
The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer.
The president also announced that one of the suspected planners behind the 2021 bombing attack that killed 13 U.S. service members outside Kabul airport has been arrested. The dean of the House, Congressman Hal Rogers, invited 2 guests with him for last night's joint address to Congress. Hazard native and Kentucky Energy leader Joe Kraft were there, and his pastor, Reverend Ryan Coffey of First Baptist Church in Somerset. In a statement, Congressman Rogers said President Trump is delivering on the promises he made, but also made clear he has no intention of gutting Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security. The Trump administration is considering selling hundreds of federal properties. The General Services Administration originally posted a list of 440 buildings, including the headquarters of the FBI and the Departments of Justice, Veterans Affairs, and Labor. But later Tuesday, the list was scaled back to 320, with all D.C.-based properties removed. The GSA did not specify where employers will go if their buildings get sold, but it is working with DOJ on a plan to make federal agencies share office space. President Donald Trump also said he might revoke federal funding from any college, school, or university that permits what he called illegal protests. In a Truth Social post Tuesday, President Trump also said those he calls agitators will either be imprisoned or deported. The president also implied a prohibition on face coverings during protests. Some states already have such a ban. 2 ports near the Panama Canal will soon be under U.S. control. That's after the Hong Kong-based firm that owns the ports struck a $23 billion deal to sell all of their shares to a group led by American investment company BlackRock. President Donald Trump praised the deal during his joint address to Congress last night after weeks of pushing for the U.S. to take the canal back. The deal also gives the BlackRock consortium controlling interest for ports in 23 other countries, including Mexico, Egypt, and Australia. President Donald Trump could unveil trade deals with Mexico and Canada as soon as today. Over the weekend, a 25% tariff against goods from Canada and Mexico and an additional 10% tariff for China went into effect. All of it could hurt consumers if producers pass those fees downward, potentially driving up the cost of a small car by an estimated $6,200 and an SUV by $9,000. Experts say how much it hurts and when we feel it depends on how long the tariffs last and the production cycle of the product.
If you're building a house and you've got lumber that's coming in and from Canada, and it might take a while to show up in the price of the house. There are certainly houses for sale already. But if you've got something that's perishable, like let's say an avocado, that actually will show up pretty quickly.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says the deals probably won't mean pausing the 25% tariffs on Mexican and nearly all Canadian goods that started yesterday.
We are under a wind advisory for most counties in our region, with the exception of Lawrence County, Kentucky, and Wayne County, West Virginia. And with that, we are watching quite fast wind speeds this morning. Take a look. We're seeing a 14-mile-an-hour winds as you're traveling towards Moorhead, 20-mile-an-hour winds for Jonesville, and 21 for Wise. So it's definitely going to be fast. If you haven't already secured any loose items that could blow away, make sure you're doing that. Here's a look at the rain on the live pinpoint Doppler radar, mostly focused towards our easterly counties, and it's making its way out slowly but surely. And as you take a look to the west, we have more rain chances that are on the way. Current temperatures, though, are quite warm. We're in the 50s, and temperatures will be dropping as they're going throughout the day, but we have a little bit of an increase first as you're traveling into about that 11 o'clock hour when we'll see our high temperatures. And then by 4 o'clock, we're dropping down to 52 and 43 by 7. So we'll get colder as we're traveling into tomorrow. Amelia.
Thanks, Megan, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Bringing happiness can be as simple as donating a toy, which is what one kid knew after so many were hit by the Valentine's Day flood.
At People's Bank and Trust